Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. And welcome to a very new mini-series called Be You. Welcome back. If you've been listening before, welcome. And welcome if you haven't been. If this is your first time, thank you for being here. I'm Jody Misiak. Let's make yourself comfortable. And today we're going to be talking about something I absolutely love. Embracing your superpowers. Not the comic book kind, though it may be fun to think about our superpowers, jumping from buildings or having lasers come out of our eyes and things like that. The real everyday power is inside you. That's what we're talking about today. Empathy, sensitivity, intuition, persistence, creativity, just to name a few. Some of us don't even realize we have them. Others are afraid of them. I discovered this after a conversation that had me stop in my tracks. I was talking with somebody and they mentioned how one of their friends have all these really amazing abilities and that they're afraid of them. And it made me pause for a second and go, right, this is what I do. I help people embrace their superpowers because not that long ago, I didn't even know what superpowers were hiding within me. And over the past, years, I've been on my self-love journey for almost 2 decades now. And every year, every month even, sometimes I surprise myself getting to know myself even more. So here's the thing. People can fear their own strengths. I know I do sometimes. Seriously. I was like, whoa, I scare myself. I'm like, wow. But we wouldn't be given these powers if we weren't able to handle them. And they're there for a reason. So today, we're going to explore how to recognize your superpowers, why some of them feel like a burden, and practical ways to own them and use them without burning out. Ready? Let's go. So when I say superpower, I don't mean flying or invisibility. I mean those qualities that really shape how you perceive the world and how you move through it. Empathy, highly sensitive, deep focused, pattern recognition, fierce loyalty, the ability to calm people down, the knack for seeing what's missing. These are all strengths that help you help others when used well. So I am highly empathetic. I didn't always know this. It kind of, looking back at my childhood, it kind of makes sense. I couldn't watch a lot of shows that had animals in it. I'm going to be super real here for a moment. Well, I'm always real, but I'm going to really pull back the curtains and share a little bit of, my childhood. So whenever my family would watch Homeward Bound, if you've never seen it, I'm sorry if I'm ruining the ending for you. It's an oldie, so if you haven't, I doubt you'd see it now. But anyways, if you do, it's when it's near the end, and I can't even remember the dog's name. It's a golden retriever. It's the older dog, and he falls down this hole. I've watched the movie a million times as a child, but every time I had to leave the room, I was overwhelmed by feelings. I was empathizing with the dog, but I had no idea what was going on. I just knew that I felt sad and I was going to cry. So I walked away every single time, even though I knew at the end he was going to be okay. I just couldn't watch him struggle because I couldn't do anything about it. And that really made me sad. Another one, this one's really near and dear to my heart, but it also made me shy away from my feelings as a kid, to be honest. So, The Littlest Hobo. At the end of the show, actually, in case you didn't ever watch this show, it's about a little dog. Not a little dog, it's about a German Shepherd dog. And he roams from family to family, helping them. And at the end, he always leaves once they're okay, and he goes on his little merry way. And they always have the song at the end, and every time, even now, just thinking about it, brings me a little emotional. And he'd move on. But for me, I always felt that's no, stay, you need family. You need to be here, and they need to support you too. Anyways, so I always would cry at the end, and then I was always made fun of. So it's in these moments that as we grow up, sometimes we're told like that we're silly for crying, or that, it's whatever it is that we're told. And then we start hiding our superpowers. Or if we don't have somebody in our life to help share with us our superpowers. I'm incredibly grateful that I'm here to help my kids because they're both empathetic, like hugely empathetic. They're surrounded by empathetics at school too, which is so beautiful. And at the same time, they're very highly sensitive. Now, I honestly don't love this term, highly sensitive, and it's on me because when we're told we're too sensitive, that's what it brings up. Highly sensitive, though, just means that we're really aware. We're hyper aware. We take in everything. And even my son, his skin is sensitive. Like for a long time, and even now, actually, to be honest, sand bothers his feet. And I remember he was probably about 4 years old and he was losing it because sand was in his shoe. And to most people, that would be, what's the problem? Why is he crying? Why is he whining? But I knew that it's irritable, like it's heightened. So if somebody finds sand annoying or uncomfortable, dial it up 100 or more, and that's what he's feeling. So it's supporting people through this. It doesn't mean we have to have those moments of like complete breakdowns, or like the kids like to call it these days, crashing out. But the thing is, it's understanding those moments and then supporting, these people through them, or yourself through these moments, and then better understanding them. So it's not belittling them. It's not judging them. It's understanding them for ourselves and for others. And if you're like me and you grew up in a household where emotions weren't really talked about, or if you did have emotions, they were kind of pushed away, or, maybe you spent, like me, a lot of time alone just being, because I knew I couldn't share anything with anybody in my family. It's a lot, but things are getting better. And that's why we're having this conversation today. So I got a little off topic here, but this is what's happening. We need to own our superpowers. They're there for a reason. And in fact, I had a conversation a little while back with my husband, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. If he does, he can edit it out because he edits my podcast. So we talked about how he's like, wow, if I had your ability to feel the way you do or see the world you do, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't control, he would just, it would break him. Or I don't know exactly what word he used, but in essence, it was just like he couldn't take that kind of responsibility on. I said, no, you couldn't. But you weren't given that superpower. You're only given the superpowers that were meant for you. Everybody has different superpowers. He has a different superpower than I do. We all have these unique, beautiful things about us that really are amazing. He has a memory for so many things, maybe not personal things, but like for TV watching and other things. And I'm sure you would, given time, you figure out what that works for other things in life, other than trivia and just really knowing things and just math and things. Like we all have superpowers and they're all amazing, but I couldn't give you mine and expect you to be able to use them, vice versa. The things that my husband sees, the way he sees, I don't think I would handle that well either. We're not meant to. We all are here to embrace our own beautiful superpowers. And I didn't even realize how even like these played into my life for a long time. I just thought everybody saw life like me until I was starting to have conversations with other people. And I'm like, oh, so you don't see life like that. And it's okay. Like I said, we all have our own superpowers, but it's really cool to see and understand like, oh, I see the world this way, but you don't. And then we can kind of get to better understand other people, especially people close to us in our relationships where it's like, maybe you get annoyed about something they do, or why can't they remember everything I remember? I remember personal details super well. As a coach, that's amazing. I take notes when I coach, but I don't actually need them. I don't. I can remember people I've helped 5, 6 years ago. Even more. I just remember information. It's personal information I remember. Dates, history, science equations, math equations, none of that I'll remember. I guess I could if I really put my mind to it, but remembering people and their person, their life, what is upsetting them, what, they want, their hopes, their dreams, that's what I remember. That is what makes me, get up out in the morning, get out of bed and do what I do. But other people, it might be facts and numbers and equations. And that's totally cool. Okay, so let me reel this back in because I'm getting a little off topic. So like I was saying, I'm highly empathetic. I read expressions. I feel layers of emotion in a room. That's my superpower, or at least one of them. I have many, but that's one of them. We all have many, really, if we think down and if we take a moment to really think about it. But that's one of my super big ones. It helps me connect, but it can also drain me if I don't set boundaries. So for instance, I need to be very mindful of my time and energy. Hanging out and going out with friends, I love it. I love being social, but I can't do it all the time. I have certain days that are just for me, my family, my kids are different because we really see the world very similar. Obviously we're different, we're human, but we also have very similar superpowers. So it's really cool to live with two beautiful beings that understand me and get me at a higher level than a lot of people because they see the world the same way I do, obviously, and then in different ways. I know they're their own peoples and they have their own lives, and I really encourage them to embrace themselves. But at the same time, they have these moments. So I've shared my frustrations, my journeys with them so they can understand. And at the same time, I hold space for them to really figure themselves out as well. So every superpower has two sides. And it's really about embracing those superpowers and then understanding what kind of boundaries you need to set with them. And that's how you manage it. So first is becoming aware of your awesome superpower. What does it do? And then how do you operate the superpower? Okay. So let's unpack why some people fear what they're good at. And I'm so at this place. I can't tell you how long it took me to figure out actually becoming a mom has really helped me because I've been learning about highly sensitive and empathy and things like that after having kids like that. And I'm like, oh, I need to read about this. And then I'm like, oh, that's me too. And it's just this really beautiful world. So it's okay if you don't know what your superpower is yet. And it's okay if you know what it is and you don't know how to use it or you're afraid of it. Because like I said, this conversation right here, right now was all because I was told how somebody knows somebody that has wicked awesome superpowers, but they're afraid of them. And I'm like, aha, if they're afraid of them, who else is out there that needs this conversation, including myself? I know how it can be to have these abilities, or one, not even knowing you have them, and then two, once you find out, how do you use them? So let's look at this a little bit more. Fear of being visible. We all had these moments where maybe we don't want to be seen. Strengths make you noticeable. You stand out. With attention comes expectations, responsibility, and even judgment. That's a huge one for me. I don't love that world because I spent a good chunk of my world living in fear of judgment. So that's something I've had to work on myself. But it's these things like expectations, responsibility, and judgment. If you've been told that don't rock the boat or that you're too much, you learn to hide. Or even, in fact, your emotions, you're too sensitive, all those things. As a child, you were told to just not do or be made fun of for those things. Fear of hurting others or standing out is another one. Being strong can feel unfair to others or threatening to a relationship. You might worry your empathy makes others dependent, or your creativity makes colleagues insecure. Here's the thing. We can't control how others see us. So them, feeling insecure is about them, not you. But we'll get into more in a minute. And then the fear of responsibility and failure. Failure is a huge one. If you're good at something, you may ask to do it more and fail once. And then it becomes evidence you don't belong. So, you're walking along, you're doing your thing, you're excelling at everything. And then the more people ask of you, you fall down. And then you don't feel like it's good enough or you're good enough. But here's the thing. We all have setbacks. We all have things that are deemed failure, but it's not really failure unless you don't learn from it. These mistakes or things that don't work, because failure is only your idea of what needed to work in the first place. If something didn't work the way you thought it was going to. And that's all about learning and growing through life. So, and then let's talk a little bit more about sensitive. Like I said, I didn't love the term highly sensitive. I'm working on it. But sensitive can mean, in like some minds, including my own, sensitive equals weak. To empathetic equals drains others. These cultural and family messages can make you ashamed of your gifts. I used to think everyone saw the world like I did, like I mentioned earlier. So when I realized that people didn't, I got confused and anxious. And, the mix match created doubt about whether my way was right. But here's the thing. Whatever feels right to you is your way. There is no right way for everybody. There's a way for me and a way for you. Because we're all unique and beautiful in our own awesomeness. So, your superpowers are tools you can sharpen, use, and put away. They aren't your entire identity. So, for example, empathy as a tool. It helps you understand people, but it doesn't mean you must carry their pain. It's about learning to translate empathy into helpful action rather than absorption. And I've had to work on this a lot. When I'm around negative people, I can pick that up and not realize it. So I too am working on those things, but it's becoming aware, being mindful. So first it's realizing what your tool, your superpower is. And then becoming more mindful of when you're using it and then sometimes when it's using you. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Now another one, highly sensitive. It means you notice really like detailed things, the beauty and the risk. So I analyze everything. It's what I do. So I'll see my life and then I'll like think a million steps ahead and be like, is it worth the risk or is it not? And sometimes that can prevent me from making amazing changes in my life. And other times it can keep me safe. It's learning where to use it and when to kind of say, hey, it's okay. We're still safe over here, having a conversation with yourself. It's also invaluable for creativity and deep relationships, but it also means you need more self-care and downtime. I found this out the hard way. And then again and again, when I'm like, okay, I don't need that much, especially when I'm looking at other people's lives. Remember, we don't compare because that just leads us down the wrong path because we're all different. So when I look at a friend and go, oh, I'm not doing enough. It's like, wait. That's her yardstick, not mine. And it's like, what do I want and what do I need? And it's really important to look at ourselves so we don't judge ourselves or beat ourselves up or measure ourselves against somebody else's yardstick. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by your sensitivity, pause and name the skill. This is my sensitivity. Notice and then X, whatever that is, notice it. Naming it creates distance and choice where you get to honor and celebrate this part of you, not hide away from it, run away from it, but it's about embracing it. So, how do you identify your superpowers? If you're not sure what yours are, it's okay. It's taken me a long time to figure out mine, and I'm still working out the kinks a little bit, right? Try these quick questions. Ask yourself, and you can journal about these if that makes you feel, more connected. Sometimes when we write things out, amazing things come out that you weren't even sure were there. So, 1, ask, what drains me? What energizes me? Because what often drains you, like absorbing other people's emotions, points to a strength that you use without boundaries. So it's really like, where does my energy go? And what drains you? So what drains you and what energizes you? And then start looking for patterns. What do friends thank you for? What problems do people bring to you? Those answers are clues. And then your childhood. Think back. What did you naturally gravitate towards as a kid? And then those are usually seeds that are often there that are planted really early on. Like I said, I love animals, but I couldn't see them suffer. I, to this day, can't watch movies that involve animals unless I know that they're absolutely okay and then nothing is going wrong. Like, I just don't want to feel that because they're innocents. They have no control. They don't have the voice to say, look, stop treating me this way. So anyways, I'm not going to go down there anymore, but just knowing those little clues, those empathetic moments or those sensitive moments, or there's so many different things, creativity. Okay. And then here's a fun one. For 1 week, notice 3 moments when you felt most you. Write them down and then see the recurring themes. And maybe you don't know what you looks like yet. So that's even more fun. But knowing when you're you is when you're in flow, when you feel happy and excited and you lose track of time in a good way. I don't mean that you're sitting on the couch and streaming like nonstop, like TV shows nonstop. I mean like you're joyful and you're not you're lost in the moment. That's you being you and all it's awesome. But see the recurring themes. And this thing is, it's not going to look maybe glamorous. It's, not a full list of superpowers like I said earlier. But these are simple, everyday gifts. And these are the most powerful. The things that I never even realized were my superpowers that I took for granted. Understanding people. I can be with somebody and know what they're feeling without them saying a single word. And I didn't know no one else, not everybody sees that, but I do. And I notice the finest details in everything. Sometimes that drives me batty, for reals. Clutter in the house, it really clogs up my energy. So we do a little 5-10 minute declutter now and then. But it's understanding these superpowers that make you uniquely you. And they might feel scary and overwhelming at times, but it's to understand that they're for you. They're yours. No one else can handle them the way you can. And that's what makes them magically yours. So it's trying to embrace them. So first, becoming aware, and then starting to understand them a little bit, and then test them out, test the ground, see how they work. And then over time, you will understand them little by little, you'll understand them more. They don't come with manuals. Mind you, there's a ton of books out there. I have used books to help me understand mine from time to time, especially when I was also trying to help my kids, because I go to them, I go, okay, I'm learning to still put negative shields up, to keep the negativity out so I don't take them on. And I've known that water is really good and refreshing. There's been years of me learning things, but I don't know everything. So I tell them that because it's honest and it's the truth. I'm learning. This is what I've learned so far. This is what works for me. And then let's figure this out for you, right? Because we are all different and then we're all learning. And that's a beautiful place to be personally. I think so. Now that I've started to embrace them a little bit more. Okay. So now that we've, established superpowers, what they do, how they can be a negative thing sometimes, or why we fear them, how to find them if you're not sure what they are. How do you actually embrace them and live with these superpowers in a sustainable, joyful way? Well, here are some practical tools I use and teach. So number 1, boundaries. This is a basic hygiene for any superpower, in life in general, but boundaries are really, really important. So learning to say no, not to push others, but to preserve your energy. So for example, a practice script could look like, I can't take that on right now, but I care about you. So it's about using a time, space, and limits. It's letting that person know that you do care, but you don't have the time right now. I even keep it even simpler where I say, I can't make it that day. I have plans. And like if it's a group thing where I'm the only one that can't make it that day, then I just let it go. I tell them to have a good time. And if it's others, then we establish a different time that can work. But there was something that came up in my life where my schedule was so full and I had plans to just hang out with my kids and have PJs and a movie. So to some, that might have seemed like I didn't really have plans, but I sure had plans. They were just chill plans. And that's what I needed that week at the end of a really, really busy week. So it's being honest and considerate of the other person, but also considerate of your time and energy and what you need. And then it's decompressing. So it's a ritual or thing that you can use after social events. So it's creating a reset, a 10, 20-minute grounding routine. So you can do breathing, a short walk, music, journaling, imagining shedding layers like a coat you take off. And like I said before, I like water, so I like a good shower. So it can just be like putting a shower balm in with a nice scent that you like. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be as much as you want it to be. But for me, I like to keep it simple. I have 2 kids at home, so I don't usually have a lot of time to switch from going and doing something and then taking 20 minutes for myself, unless it's a shower. And the thing is, you have to figure out what works for you. So for me, I don't really have a lot of the time, we'll go as a family with an event and then I'm coming home. So it's really just figuring out what works for you. But like I said, the shower for me is one of the best ways because showering really takes the energy off of you and it's a really beautiful thing. I also love smudging. So if I've had people in my house, especially people that I may not love as much as, anyways, that might bring some negative energy. I don't have that happening very much anymore, but I do smudging in my house as well, or in my office, just for the sake of smudging. Maybe I've had a bad day. Anyways, okay. Number 3, naming and distancing. So pause and label what you're feeling. This is not mine. It's someone else's. Grief. So whatever it might be that you're feeling. And now this one can be tricky because I know from personal experience that I will be happy and I will be feeling really good. I've done my morning routine. I've really grounded myself. And then all of a sudden, I'm depressed as anything. And I'm like, where did those feelings come from? And then I have to remind myself that they're not mine. So it's really just really being mindful sometimes, where your mood went. It's whoa. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like this? And then figuring out how to let that go because it's not always yours. And most, if you have those abilities of taking on other people's emotions, it can be really overwhelming at times if you're not aware of that. Okay. Number 4, channeling into craft. So what do I mean by this? Use your sensitivity and empathy in a focused way. So for example, writing, art, coaching, listening work. Choose outlets that reward those skills rather than deplete them. So it's using those superpowers of yours for good instead of letting the world run the show and make you feel things that you don't want to feel. So you really using that for good and to craft it into something beautiful. And then number 5, energy budgeting. So block your week, high energy tasks during your peak times. And then restorative time blocks as non-negotiable. Write that in. And then treat it like a work calendar you respect. So something that goes like, I keep my Mondays for me. The kids go to school or whatever it is because they had a pro D day this past Monday. So my Tuesday became my Monday. But whatever day of my work week it is, I don't plan anything that takes me outside of the home talking to other people. That's my day to fill my cup up, really focus on my creativity work and things like that. I won't book meetings or coaching calls or anything on Mondays. No energy out on that day. And then other days, that's where I really go. And it's been a little tricky for me because my creativity time is at 2:00 in the afternoon. And that's just before the kids get home from school. So it's figuring out, how do I enjoy my kids and how do I have this life of a mom and then merge my world and my creativity into that. So as they get older, they understand this a little bit more. And then we just really it's trying to adapt the best you can as well. But blocking those times off. So figuring out when is your creativity time? When do you want to just have that? Turn off your phone or put it on silent. Turn off your notifications and just do those things. And then having those moments on your calendar just for you to fill up your bucket, to re-energize and decompress. I hope that helps. And then micro affirmations and permission. So give yourself small permissions. Like, it's okay to leave early. You don't have to be the last one there, even though I'm usually the last one there for some weird reason. I just like to have a good time. But I really minimize my outings and my events. And I'm very, very mindful of where my energy goes these days. So I'll stay and one event will I'll just really embrace that event. And then anyways, so another one is I can prioritize my rest. That is so important. Celebrate small wins and owning your strength. Celebrate them. Any win is a win, even if it's very small. Maybe you listened to this episode because you wanted to talk about comics and then you're like, oh my goodness, these superpowers. Maybe you just realized that you have some really incredible superpowers. Celebrate that. That's awesome. Maybe there's another takeaway here. Celebrate these little moments. Or maybe you finally set a boundary with them, even a small one. Or you found a ritual that really works to help gain your energy back after a social outing. Whatever it might be, celebrate it. That's incredible. And here's a big one. And this has taken me a while because I'm always a little bit of a lone wolf, kind of I can do it all my own, probably because of my childhood, taking care of everybody else, but no one taking care of me. I shouldn't say no one taking care of me, but anyways, where I was the oldest child taking care of my 3 siblings and things like that. So I was just I can do it all. The truth is we all aren't meant to do it all. So anyways, building a safety net. This is so, so important to let other people in, trusted friends or a coach who gets your superpower can help you process whatever is draining you further. Just taking those steps or talking about it. These are things, like I said, I talk to my kids about all the time. And the really cool thing is that they hold space for me too. When I'm having a moment, they see that moment and they understand it. They get it. And it's this really, really beautiful thing. So if you're not surrounded with other people that understand superpowers or your superpower in general, it's really important to talk to people, or like I said, a trusted friend even, to just let them in on what you're feeling. Before I had conversations with my husband, I had no idea no one else thought like me. Or when I talked to a good friend and I was like, oh, this is a unique thought of mine, huh? I'm just a little different. And it's not a bad thing. It's just a different thing. And that's okay. So it's owning them, but also building a net of people, really like a support system, a community around you to help you, because we're never meant to do it alone. We're meant to be together and do it all together. So community. So here's an example. I only go to parties and outings that I really, really want to. Then if I go to something that my kids want to and I really want to support them on it, then we'll either go less, or I'll have my husband take them, or I will find other ways. So I'll excuse myself. And I've had many conversations with my husband. I'm like, okay, when I'm feeling things, I'm going to go, somewhere. I'll go to the bathroom. And when we'd have school dances, we'd go to this one room. Now, the last time it was a little overwhelmed and packed, so we couldn't hang out there. But you find these little moments, these little places to really reconnect with yourself, if that works for you. And that helps me preserve my energy and lets me enjoy the evening. So it's really just listening to your body and what it needs in that moment. Okay. So embracing superpowers isn't about becoming invincible. It's about learning how to use your gifts with compassion for others and yourself. So say to yourself, my sensitivity is not a defect. It's a way I experience the world, and I can really use it with care. And remember, strengths live in community. When you show up with your superpowers in healthy ways, you give others permission to do the same. So before we wrap up, I'm going to give you a little bit of homework. I don't do this often, so if you're like, oh my goodness, Jody, what are you doing? I don't want homework. I'm going to give you a little homework today. So today and this week, I encourage you to notice one superpower, name it, practice a boundary, or come up with a ritual to help you reconnect after a moment of draining, or a ritual that helps you connect back to yourself after. Tell one trusted friend or a person about it. Now, this whole month is about being you. It is so important to embrace who you are, starting with your superpowers. And I actually have a beautiful group called the Be You Community Room. And it's this beautiful space that you get to embrace you. No fixing, no changing required. You show up as you are, and you get to learn more and more about you every day and get supported in the way you need. And this is a free group. And this group is online on my website at jodymisiak.com. We're just starting out as I'm recording this. It's still growing, but I have some beautiful, beautiful things in the works for it. And right now what we do is we set a monthly intention, and I also offer a free meditation for the month. So at the beginning of the month, we set an intention. We have a free meditation to help you through the month. And then you have people to talk to and hang out with throughout. And as I grow and change things around a little bit, I'm hoping to pop in more and have some more offerings as well. So if you're looking for a place to be you, to own your superpowers, I encourage you to jump over to my website and check out the membership. It's super easy. There's a login button. All you do is log in. Then you're a member of the site. And then you go to My Groups under your menu and find the BU community room. It's that simple. And then you introduce yourself, and we have a great time getting to know you. And it's going to be a really big, beautiful journey. And I'm really hoping to grow and shape this community even further this year. And also, if you love this podcast, I have created a Loving Me, Myself, and Life Plus. And that is, it's a way for me to give back to people that want to support this podcast in a really beautiful, loving way to keep this place going, keep the lights on per se. I'm offering every month is a bonus episode and a meditation. So if you'd love to have behind the scenes, a little extra, check it out. And it's the Loving Me, Myself, and Life Plus, where you just get a little extra every month as you support this podcast in even bigger, beautiful ways. And I'd love you to share your discovery with me. If you head over to jodymisiak.com, leave me a note, contact me. Or if you're a part of my loving community, Or if you're not, subscribe so you can email me and let me know about your superpower and what it's named. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. And if you've loved this episode or it resonated with you, please subscribe and share. Don't keep this a secret. Let others know too. And finally, your superpowers are meant to be lived, not hidden. You don't have to be perfectly figured out. Start small, protect your energy, celebrate your gifts. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Be kind to your superpowers until next time, when we talk about everything happens for a reason. Embrace it, learn from it. Take care, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.